Okay, bear with me here. This is a new setup for us. Typically we are using Zoom, but this is hopefully going to be a better option going forward. And I see that there's some people in here. We typically give it a minute so that everyone can join, but this will be recorded so that for people who couldn't attend live tonight, or also maybe if for some reason you get cut off. So give me 1 minute here. If you would like to grab a notepad, that would be a great idea, or something just to take notes on. You could even take notes on your phone, because there will be some things for you to write down, or even questions maybe that pop up. We've done this a million times, so we do typically ask for you to wait till the end of the session to ask a question, or because typically we like to hopefully answer your question before you ask it. So grab a pen and paper. We will give it a minute until everyone can log on, and I'll just make sure that everything's working properly. Just checking with my my IT guy, aka my brother Joe. Okay, so let's get going. Hopefully I won't take up too much of your time. Like I said, we try to really narrow things down as we go. Every transformation, I try to make this presentation a little more useful, a little better, a little more clear and concise, and also try to make sure that everything is addressed, or at least as many things as possible are addressed, so that we can give you the best information to at least get started. And then that way, once you are kind of ready to go, your coaches can answer any questions that pop up that maybe weren't questions at the beginning. So let's get going here. If you have a question, and on this software, it allows you to request to pop on here. So one, this recording is going to be given out just to the other transformation attendees. But if you do request to ask a question, and please, I encourage you to do that, go on, pop on, and get on the screen and ask your question, because if you're thinking it, you've heard this before, someone else has been thinking it probably as well. And there are no dumb questions. No matter what Tony says, I'm the boss tonight, no dumb questions. So that's number one. Number two, there is a chat as well. So feel free, if you are someone who's a little bit more of a wallflower, feel free to put your question into the chat. I will say that because this is new to me, I will do my very best to try to make sure that I can kind of check it periodically as we go along. So let's get started. Hopefully everyone can see my screen here. Okay. Okay. The mission of the 𝘧𝗿𝗍𝗄. So our mission is obviously to transform. Definition of transform is to make a thorough or dramatic change in the form, appearance, or character of. We hope that there's going to be a little bit of transformation of everything. Changes in your behaviors, changes in your mindset, but also changes in your body as well. What we'd like to encourage you to do is make sure that you are relying on being active, taking action, instead of relying on motivation. Motivation can be fleeting. Motivation can be determined by your mood. So stick to the plan, not your mood. That can be maybe a mantra that you decide to kind of carry through your transformation as well. There will always be times when it's not convenient. There will always be times when maybe you're sore or maybe you're just not hungry. Stick with the plan, and it's a proven process. You gave us your goals, and we are here to make them happen. The only thing you're responsible for here is your action. So don't worry about the outcome. Worry about the things that you can do to influence the outcome of your transformation. And I promise you, if you do your very best, you will see transformation. We're going to also rely on habits and systems. Okay. So a drop in the bucket every day, making sure that, like I said, we're doing something, we're being better every day. We're making sure that even if we stumble or even if something happens that just is out of our control, that we jump on the next opportunity. So whether that's jumping on the next opportunity for some physical activity, better sleep, a better meal, maybe, all of those things are going to make the difference. So this isn't about perfection. This is about learning how to make habits and systems so that you're able to carry this over long term. Our goal for you, and hopefully your goal as well, is to make better food choices more often, increasing your energy, giving you better quality sleep, more strength in the gym, and just making sure that if those are the things that you're really focusing on, then the rest will take care of itself. Okay, so let's get into the basics. We're going to just start right away into some nutrition basics, because I never like to assume that anyone knows anything. Maybe you know a little bit, maybe you know a lot. Maybe you've never even understood what a macronutrient is. So let's talk about it. Let's break it down, and then take some notes if you want. And sometimes, even if you've done this a couple times, this can be a nice refresher for different types of foods that you could use. This could be something that is really good for just giving you maybe some different ideas, or maybe it's something you haven't tried. So I would also encourage you to use the things you know work for you, but also use the things that you know are tried and true because you've tested them before. So this first slide here with the macronutrient of protein, why is it first? Because it's the most important. This is what is going to create the most change in your body composition. You will likely have a protein number and macronutrients are going to come by numbers that might scare you, or it will certainly challenge you. But that is the purpose behind it, is to make sure that you are feeling full. It's very thermogenic, which means that it creates that let's call it burn. So everything that, if you take in enough protein, your body is going to just want more and more, and it's going to start that furnace. So this is not a full list. This is like a lot of really good options for protein. Maybe jot a few down if you have any questions about certain foods, because some foods are going to have a little bit of everything in it. Some of them are going to have like majority protein, a little bit of fat. So these foods here are listed with the protein being the most significant part of that food. If you look at, let's say, beef. So beef is going to have some fat in it. Again, depending on where you get it or what type you get, it's going to have a little bit more, a little bit less. But overall, beef is known as a protein. It's going to have the most of its calories are coming from protein. Same with chicken. So if you're taking in like a lean piece of chicken breast, it's going to look a little bit different than would chicken thighs, for instance, which would have a little bit of a fattier consistency. But again, the majority of the calories from chicken is going to be protein, so on and so forth. So we've got a whole list there on the left-hand side. There's also some little bit of dairy options on the right-hand side. Those will come in handy as things to make food taste different or better. They will also come in handy for We'll talk a little bit about this later about if you're too full, what to choose. And just to note here, when I have listed the Greek yogurt and the cottage cheese, for instance, we don't want to go fat-free, okay? The reason we don't want to go fat-free is because when we're making foods, we're taking something out of them that are naturally occurring. The laboratories are going to put something in there that is going to be something artificial or something that you don't want in there, like fillers or sugars or whatever. So keep the fat in there, go for 1%, 2%. You can even go higher than that. Just realize that if you go higher with the fat percentage, that that might affect the number of, for the macronutrients that you are given. Also, on that note, we've got protein isolate, which is a supplement we'll talk about a little bit later. But you want to look for, no matter what you're choosing, if you are choosing something in a package, you want to look for something that has ingredients that you recognize and minimal ingredients. If you're ever unsure and you send me or your coach a picture of a package, very often, more often than not, I'm going to tell you to put it back. If it's in a package, I really encourage you to stay away from that during this challenge. I encourage you to choose the most whole foods as possible. But again, that can be a question that you have later on if you notice something on the shelf and you want to know about the ingredients there. So those are a few options. Let's go to the next position here. So we have carbohydrates, which are next. So again, this is not a completely thorough list. It gives you lots of options, but it also just explains to you what I mean when I say carbohydrates. There's often times where different foods are put into different categories that are not correct. And that is something that I really want to make sure that you understand that these, what categories these foods go into. So we've got some veggies, we've got fruit, a whole bunch of other options. And then you'll also notice that when you're filling your macros with vegetables versus filling your macros with something like oats or beans or wild rice or something like that, you'll notice there's a big difference between what those numbers add up to. So if you do notice that you're having trouble either filling, let's talk about filling first. So if you do notice that you have a trouble filling your carbohydrates, then go for the denser carbohydrates, potatoes, rice, oats, those kinds of things. Fruit typically, unless it's like low sugar fruit. If you are finding that you're running out of carbohydrates and you're going over on that number, then you need to switch to the other way. So instead of using so much, let's say potato, you might want to drop that serving down and fill yourself up with something a little bit less dense. So maybe some greens, maybe some asparagus. So those are foods that would be, you could eat a lot more of them for, like, let's say little calories. Okay, on to fats. So one thing to talk about fats is ideally you get most of your fat, and you'll notice too that fat's always the one that a lot of people don't have, let's say, as much as they would like of when it comes to their macronutrient numbers. So I would like you to try to get those fats just by way of what we talked about with proteins. So in your meat, in your dairy, in those types of foods that are just naturally occurring, kind of like we talked about before. However, there are other ways to, if you are eating something that's a little bit leaner in the protein department, then you could add these fats. So things that you could add would be nuts and seeds, avocado, cheese, healthy oils are listed there, preferably organic grass-fed butter. MCT oil is essentially very similar to coconut oil. That's something you could add to a shake, and tallow. So supplements. When we're moving along to supplements here, supplements can be a great way to reach your goals, especially if you're someone who's new to the transformation, or if you need it for convenience. So things like I'd mentioned before, protein isolate. And the reason I say protein isolate is because it has the least amount of ingredients. It's very pure. And whey protein is known to have it basically be just the very purest form of protein that is rendered down from, let's say, the whey component. So it's actually it should work really well in your belly. If you don't find that that's the case, either you're taking too much of it, or you should take a look also at what you're using it with. Typical things that I use protein powder with, shakes sometimes, but I would say more often than not, I will be mixing it into some cottage cheese or some Greek yogurt. And I'll be able to kind of share some of those ideas with you. All other supplements that are really great for someone who would be in the transformation would be the things listed at the bottom there. So creatine, EAAs, vitamins. If you need some help, I'd be happy to help you with the website. Canadian Protein has a lot of items, so that can be a little bit difficult to navigate. But if you're going for protein, look for the isolate, and for the other ingredients that are listed there. Those ones are fairly easy to find. Just a reminder, supplements should be supplementary to your whole foods. So they shouldn't make up the large majority of what you're taking in. Remember, we're going to aim for whole foods. So the perimeter of the grocery store, when we're walking into the grocery store, if I'm thinking about what my grocery store would typically look like that I walk into, we're going to have the fruits and veggies at the beginning. You're going to walk around. There's going to be some meat. There's going to be some eggs. There's going to be some fish. And you continue on around the outside of the perimeter. You're going to get to your dairy, maybe some frozen veggies, frozen fruit. Those are great. Just make sure that if you do choose something from a package, you look at the ingredients, because there are frozen items that aren't just, frozen peas, for instance. They will have added ingredients. You don't want those ones. You want the ones that just say, frozen vegetables, and they list what the vegetables are. And we do have a link for the Canadian Protein to order through the Garage Gym with a discount. So we'll be sending that out as well. Okay, so let's move on a little bit to a few other things. Tips for weigh-ins. So again, perfect world. There's a few things that you can do to encourage really good weigh-in, weigh-out. Best times, worst times. Okay, so maybe trying to weigh in and weigh out around the same time of day. That can be helpful. Most helpful would be something like after you are waking up, so you're fasted. If you're going to weigh out, I would say I would encourage that. If you can't help it and you cannot come to the morning weigh outs, that's okay. Just make sure, and this will come up in a second, that we're not closely, bookending a meal or a whole bunch of water. So making sure too for your weigh-ins that you're wearing something that shows your body. So we don't do anything with your pictures without asking. They are mostly for you. They're also for your coach. They're very helpful for things that we can't see when it comes to the scale. So pictures, although they're very uncomfortable, are a necessary evil to this. And if you want to win or get a prize, you have to do the weigh-ins, you have to do the weigh-outs, and you have to do progress pics at the beginning and at the end. So wear something that shows your body, and especially something that is going to show maybe the part that you want to change the most, or maybe something that is going to be, it doesn't have to be super revealing, but at least shows some silhouette or outline of that body. Okay. Be proud of it at the start and at the finish. Okay. So ideally, if you can't make it just after waking up or after a bit of a fast, we want to be at least 2 hours out of exercise or a sauna. So ideally getting weighed in before you exercise, in or out, 2 hours outside of consuming any alcohol, or large amounts of water, or after a meal. Okay. And then when we're doing those pictures, stand up tall, put your shoulders back. And I will tell you, when we're in there together, be confident. You're starting something that is very hard. And the fact that you actually signed up for something this hard is to be commended. So don't be ashamed. Don't think that anyone is looking at your photos or nitpicking anything. We are only here to encourage you and to help you do your very best. So be proud of where you start and where you finish. Okay, so a little bit of like admin. We've got tracking our macros. So I changed this seminar slideshow up. And again, I'm not super technologically savvy. So that Canadian protein icon that was on a few slides ago, like, you're welcome. I tried to put some pictures on here to show the screen of what it would look like. It did not work. So I will send a couple pictures out to reflect what I was trying to put into this slideshow. However, I'll try to describe it for you. So most of you, not everyone, but most of you have been using the app for a little while, the app that you would log your workouts in. So that's the app that you're going to use to track your macros. That's the app that will have a meal plan for you. That's the app that you would use to message your coach and to be in this group chat as well. So on the main screen where it says like to do today, that's going to be kind of where you find everything. So underneath, kind of at the top, it's going to say daily nutrition goal, and you're going to have some numbers up there. Those are your macros. If you have some from previous, they will change by the time the weekend comes, as long as you filled out your form. So that is a way to track your macros and kind of look at them. There's a green plus sign on that part of your app at the bottom right. That is going to be where you add things. So you can add another workout, you could add some activity, but you can also add a meal there or food. You can log food there. So that's the green plus sign is where you would start. There's also on that main screen, once you have a meal plan, if you don't have a meal plan, which many of you do not right now, you won't have this. But when you do have a meal plan, you will have a fork and a knife icon at the bottom. You would click on that, and that will bring up the meal plan that is specifically for you. Sometimes you will have to reset your phone to get it to upload properly. Most people have no problem. But if that's you, before you ask, what I would suggest is to either delete the app or log out of it and go back in and see if that changes, because most of the time that will fix the problem. So that is going to be how you start the process of logging your food. I'm going to jump around a little bit here. So creating our meals. If you've never, and I don't really care to call it, let's say, meal prep, because I don't really do that unless I'm getting ready for, maybe I'm going to bring a whole day's food to, I'm on the road all day tomorrow or something like that. But for the most part, I create big batches of food, and then I just kind of measure it and put it on my plate when I'm ready to eat. Or if I only have to bring a lunch, then I'll just do that at the time. So you can do one or two of those things. What I want to make sure is that it is protein forward. So what does that mean? It means that my protein is the number one thing on my plate, the number one thing that I build my plate around, and making sure that that is like the core of each time I eat. That is something that I'm thinking about. We're choosing foods that are coming from the sea, the air, the ground. So like I said, there's beef, there's seafood, there's fish, there's eggs, there's vegetables that grow in the ground or fruit that grow in the trees, things like that. That's what I'm talking about when I have that sentence in there. We're going to perhaps split our daily macros into 3 or 4 meals and eat evenly. This helps us so that at the end of the day, we don't have just a massive meal to eat before bed. Ideally, if you are someone who is new, or maybe you're just kind of getting back into it, that's what I would recommend, is splitting things up until you start to learn what you like to eat and how much you like to eat during the day. If you don't split them evenly, Well, if you do split them evenly, you'll have a lot of really great energy throughout the day. And to me, it makes things make more sense. If you do not like that method and you are a little bit more used to logging your food, then perhaps making my meals at the beginning of the day or around my activity away from bedtime a little bit bulkier. So maybe having a bigger breakfast than usual and tapering it throughout the day and having something a little bit smaller at night, but everyone's going to be a little bit different in that. So that's just a suggestion. That's just something that I would say is an easy way to kind of get started. And like I was talking about before, cooking a lot at once. So I don't know about you, but doing dishes and cooking are two of my least favorite things to do. I cook for survival. I do love food, but if like when Tony has a day off and he's cooking, it is like, that is a love language unlike any other. So that's what I try to do if I am the one who's cooking, is I'm just going to fill a sheet and put it in the oven of as much, let's say, potatoes as possible, or vegetables or chicken, so that I don't have to wash those dishes again and again, and I don't have to wash that pan again and again. I at least have a few meals or a few days worth of meals where I can get by without having to do it again. That'll also be helpful because in a few meals or a few days, you'll then want to switch it up and you'll want to cook something different too. Okay, this is a little bit repetitive here, but the one thing that's a little bit different is, and again, I was going to put a picture of what the meal plan looks like. So good news is that it'll be a surprise and you'll see it when it pops up on your screen. And just at the bottom there. So when you do click that green plus sign, it's going to allow you to either do a search at the top. Okay, so go all the way to the top. There's a search bar and you can write in whatever it is that you are going to be logging. Or there's a barcode scanner, just like MyFitnessPal. So you would scan, the side of your cottage cheese and then adjust the serving size that you're using accordingly. So it's super easy to use. It's got a huge amount of options in our app. It's great. You're going to love it. So let's just skip past that. So let's see here. We've got some top tips and frequently asked questions. And I'm going to talk a little bit about that. And I'm just going to kind of interject a few things here too. So let me just see here. Sorry, guys. Okay. I'm just going to check and make sure there's no questions in here yet. Okay. So some top tips and frequently asked questions. We've got a batch cook. So this is something that I just mentioned. You can do it with all kinds of different things. If you are brand new at it, we do send out a booklet that will come this week that will give you some of these tips and frequently asked questions. But that's something that also your coach can help you with, or people in your group who are well-versed and have done this before. So that's one of my top tips, is making sure that you cook a lot of food at once. Making an appointment for groceries and cooking. So the easiest thing to say is that you don't have time. And by signing up for the 𝗧𝗿𝗄𝗏, you will prove yourself wrong. However, in order to do that and to create better habits and systems, part of that system has to be that you create time to get some groceries and you create time to cook those groceries. So something that I find is a good way to do it is, as I'm looking in my planner, or however it is that you kind of look at your week, you're going to actually set aside time and write it in your planner of when you're going to go get groceries, what day would typically be best for you, and then when you will then cook those groceries. And then you can adjust as it goes. Some things that are nice to use to just cook things differently. Using a crock pot is fantastic, and it's a nice, easy cleanup. Using an air fryer, another great option. Using the barbecue, using the oven, using the stovetop, using like a George Foreman. I don't even know if people have those anymore. But those types of things, think outside the box in different ways that you can cook things, using a rice cooker. And again, that's going to be something that perhaps if you think of something like that, or like shoot it to the group and remind people of kind of some easier things to do instead of always feeling like you have to be standing in front of the oven to be cooking. Measure your food cooked and enter it that way. So when you are putting and logging in your food, I would like you to write in and be very specific what you're logging in. So if you put cottage cheese 2%, that's going to be a great way to put it in. If you're going to put cooked chicken thighs, that would be another really good way of putting food into your log. One top tip is protein coffee. So if you're finding it difficult at the beginning, especially to get enough protein in your breakfast, one of the best suggestions, and this comes up every single time, is just put a little bit of protein, as much or as little as you need to, in your coffee. One, it tastes a little bit different, right? It gives you like a little fancy coffee maybe in the morning, or something to have on the way to work. And it's liquids, it's a little bit easier, a little more convenient. And it just doesn't seem like a meal. It's also a good idea if you find yourself too full. So that's an option to do for the morning, or like even throughout your day. One thing that I forgot to mention about the meal plans as well is if you use the meal plan, you will see on your screen that if you choose that meal, it's already broken down. It gives you all the ingredients you need and the amounts that you need for that meal. If you click, there's going to be a button underneath that says 8 today. If you click that, you don't even have to enter anything. You don't even have to put the macros in. It does it for you. So it will enter all of the macros for that exact meal, for those amount of calories and macros, and you're set. So if you're someone who is really looking to like hone in and you're unsure about how to do that with just kind of on your own, I would suggest taking a look at that meal plan and finding something that you really like. And then that way, your job to cook it is the job. Then you just hit the button and it goes right in, it logs it for you. It's fantastic. Okay, so a frequently asked question is, am I looking at my calorie count or am I looking at my macros? So there is sometimes a little bit of a difference when, even if you were to zero out all of your macros, your calories may not be totally exact. Like you might not get to that very exact number. Don't worry about it. It is totally great if you can zero out those macros, which is what I'm going to say, is that macros are going to be the number one thing you want to think about when you're doing this, because we're aiming for body composition. And the number one thing that we need to do is make sure that we're eating the proper amounts of protein, carbs, and fats for our activity level, so that we can get to, all those great things that we talked about before. So yes, your calories are good to know, but your macros are gospel. And then, do I eat even if I'm not hungry? So the short answer is yes. Try your very best to eat all of the food that is allotted to you, even if you're not hungry. It's a few things I'm going to also mention is things to expect. So a thing to expect is that you are going to eat something, or you're going to eat a few things in the first little while, and you're going to be like, I am so full. I don't know how I'm ever going to get through all of these meals, especially if you're eating whole foods. So one thing I would like you to just do your best day by day. Today, then the next day, do a little bit better. Then the next day, do a little bit better. And make sure that you are eating, even if you're not hungry. Try your very best. And the good news from another perspective is that you can always choose the difference between chewable foods and soft foods. So let's give two examples here. We've got someone who feels like they just cannot eat one more bite. Well, a good way to make the next selection for a meal is going to be, instead of choosing something that you have to chew and it'll take a long time to get down, maybe we want to lean into some soft foods. So maybe we want to lean into some cottage cheese or Greek yogurt or shakes until we get that appetite. Whereas if you find that you are really hungry and the foods that you're eating are just not really filling you up, or they're not really doing it for you, then we want to lean into the other side. We want to lean into those foods that require a little more digestion, a little more chewing. They take a little bit more time to kind of like break down, because then it's going to take longer to break down into your system and you will feel fuller. So sometimes I'll have people who don't really notice that maybe their meals look like egg meal, shake meal, Greek yogurt meal, and then maybe a chicken meal or something. Well, those first three meals that I mentioned are soft meals. So chances are you're feeling hungry because those three meals out of four are not really chewable, taking a long time to break down foods. So just always be constantly thinking about that. And if I ask you, or if your coach asks you what types of foods you're eating, or what those look like through your day, that's probably why. And then a few other things here, kind of in the like what to expect. So I will let you know that the people who do the very best at this are going to make very similar meals throughout their 6WT. Why? Because you can practice. You can also learn to know what really works for you and what really doesn't. And it requires less bandwidth, let's say. So if you're cooking very similar meals and you're finding that it's like you're just killing your macros, you're doing great, I wouldn't really change that. Lean into that, really and then mess around with some of the spices, mess around with some of the flavors, but really kind of make sure that you keep it simple. And also another question that we get asked a lot is like, what other proteins could I use? The ones that we give you are the ones that are like the best proteins to use. And I think you saw that protein list. It's quite extensive. There's quite a lot of options on there. So most of the time, the answer is there aren't any other proteins. You just got to mix it up a little bit, or you just got to maybe think outside the box, or make it or cook it in a different way. Use spices. Use things like mustard and hot sauce and sea salt and black pepper, turmeric, ginger, fresh herbs, lemon zest. Go nuts on the flavor, because that's going to make the food more appetizing, and it turns out to be less of like the bro meals of plain rice, plain chicken, plain broccoli. That gets boring. It does. No matter who you are, other than Austin, that gets very boring. So use those things that I just listed in different ways, and then also kind of lean into maybe, one night's going to be Greek style. One night is going to be, taco night, but make it healthy, make it whole foods. A few things that we're going to avoid. So, on those slides, I don't remember if they're on there or not, but we're going to avoid things that are of low quality, of lots of processing, and like I said, things that come in containers or packages. Now, again, there's always things that come in packages that can be really great for you. And I'm not putting everything in a package in this category. But let's talk about, we're going to avoid things like wraps. We're going to avoid things like cereal. We're going to avoid things like pasta, vegetable oils, low quality meats. So things that, again, meats that come, in a package that are maybe deli meats. We're going to try to eat things that are a little bit fresher and use deli meats if we really have to. Anything like a prepackaged burgers that you didn't make yourself, things like that, those are going to be things that we avoid. Is it easier to use those things? Absolutely. are we here to do the easy thing? Never. So I really want you to lean into doing things that you haven't done. Because if you want to go somewhere, this is a quote from Austin again, as Tony and I and Austin had a podcast kind of talking about the 𝗕𝗿𝗄𝗏, and he brought this up. If you want to get somewhere you've never been, you have to do the things that you've never done. So yes, is it easy to do all the things that you've been doing? Absolutely. But we're here to tell you that trusting the process and trying to do things a little bit differently is going to be the way to go, and you'll be amazed with what you can do. Let's see if there's anything else in this list. Okay, so a few things left. I've got how macros are determined. So we sent out a form, a link on the app for you to fill out. The way that your macros are determined is through some calculations based off of the questions that you answered and what I know about you. So that is how the breakdown works. Not everyone has the same macros. Even someone who weighs the same as someone else is not necessarily going to have the same breakdown. It's going to be related to your activity level. And also the activity level that we're talking about in that form is not just gym activity. So if you are sedentary for most of your day, you're sitting at a desk, that's going to influence your numbers, as opposed to someone who is on their feet all day long and you both come to the gym for an hour every day. So a lot of those factors come into play. It depends on if you're a female or a male. It depends on how old you are. Again, all of those things come into play. So don't compare yourself to anyone else in this challenge. This challenge is for you to be better every single day, just a little bit, and to really kind of come out of the 6 weeks in a new way so that you can continue and hit the ground running. And last but not least, we've got what do I need for this challenge? So food scale you'll need. You can order that on Amazon. You can buy it at Walmart, something like that. Canadian Tire, I'm sure. Measuring cups and spoons. Those you can buy at the dollar store. Just remember, you can't manage what you're not measuring. Same as in the gym. So when we ask you to put your weights in, and when you ask you to put your food in, there's a reason behind that. It's in order to be better in the gym, we need to know what we did yesterday. In order to be better in the kitchen, we need to know what we did. We need, excuse me. We need you to log your foods, just like you would, so that you know what you need to kind of improve on, and so we can coach you better. So those are the only ways that we will really be able to get you into the very best place to be super successful in this transformation. Okay, so now if anyone has any questions, I would encourage you to either pop on here or encourage you to put it in the chat. So I'm going to kind of get myself in here so I can see the chat. Sounds like Tony's cooking in the kitchen. We'll give it a minute to see if anyone wants to say anything here. Okay, I'm going to try and put a question in here, or I'm going to put something in here so I can kind of figure out to see if you guys can see this. Oh, here we go. Okay, I found them. Okay, so what app is it? It's the Garage Gym app. It would be the app that you would have gotten when you signed up, or when we got you on in the gym, which I think you have. but I will write myself a note and make sure that you get that in case you have not. So again, the Garage Gym app would be the app, not the one that you would sign up for classes, but that you would sign up for, or that you would go on to for your workouts every day, and that you would go into to log your weights or get some messages from us. Okay. Joe, you're on here.
Yeah, the only things that I want to add is like to re-emphasize one thing that you said, where it's like keep it simple. So I think most people in the gym know that I eat pretty much the same things every day, and that is for the purpose of like I want to keep it simple and I don't want to make it over, so I mess up my numbers. I know what I'm eating every day. I weigh my food, and it's just easy that way. I make a huge amount of it one time, basically for the week, and that will last me throughout the week, and it keeps me on track. A lot of people, one of the main things that people run into is that they have trouble meeting their protein number, and they'll say, I don't know how I can get more protein in. Increase the amounts of protein you're eating in each meal. So if you're having an egg meal, like add more egg whites, or add more the bigger portion of chicken to your chicken meal. Like don't try and create a whole nother meal to make up those numbers, because you'll end up with extra fat, extra carbs that you weren't intending. So increase that protein number, and be involved. Like a lot of times as coaches, we'll have a lot of people that don't message back, don't ask questions, and don't respond. So just reach out to us whenever you do have questions. Respond when we reach out to you, and just be involved as much as possible.
Thanks, Joe. Hey guys, Tony, if you don't know me. So Jan, we will, if we don't get you that app, if you always come in the morning, we can help you out. Whatever coaches there can help you to download that if you need a hand with that. Okay. Also, so we got another question that came in from Kat. Kat, this is the part that I was coming on to speak on, so good timing. We're going to talk about the poker run part of it, the game part of it. So the poker run part is for the teams. I don't think anybody's hit on that. Correct me if I'm wrong, Joe. Not yet. Okay. So we are going to be dividing you into teams. Nikki's going to work on that. Or now that we almost have everybody signed up, we can't do that until everybody signed up. So we'll be getting into teams. And the poker run is going to involve a challenge that all of your team will have to do. You won't have to be there together, but you all will have to do it individually, and then we'll combine your whatever it is, your score or your time or the weight you moved or the speed that you ran at, whatever it is, and we will be giving you a card at the end of the week as long as your team completes the challenge. So Joe's going to kind of be in charge of that part because he is the card player on our roster. So he'll give you a card. There's 6 weeks, so ideally you're going to earn 6 cards. Those 6 cards will give you your best poker hand. The best poker hand will win the team part of this challenge. So everybody's got an equal play at it. It's not like the strongest team or the fastest team has an advantage. It's about the work that you do with a little bit of standards to that work. And we'll also have an ability to earn a wild card. So Tyler from Windsor, 𝗕𝗔𝗖𝗞, Tyler Mail, I'm pronouncing that right, Joe? So Tyler Mail from Windsor, 𝗕𝗔𝗞 from Amherstburg, and Mark Shearer from Kingsville have sponsored a little bit of a wild card that you can earn too, and then we'll be explaining that as we go later on. So that part of it is covered. If there's any other questions on the poker run, please shoot them in the chat or pop on here. The last thing is Austin is the director of training, but that used to be my role, and he's kind of briefed me on what's going on. So Danny talked about measuring, right? What gets measured gets managed, and that's what a lot of the 6WT is about. For the training, she hit on making sure that you're getting resistance, but make sure you are doing the movements right, and that is our job. Ask questions, call us over if you don't get it, and focus. So if you're talking during your exercise, you're not doing the exercise to the proper RIR. That I can guarantee. So save the talking for your rest. We want you guys hanging out. We want you guys having fun. But when it's time to get under the bar, grab the kettlebell, whatever that might be, get after it and do it properly. The other part that Danny might not have hit on as PC, or maybe in a more PC way, is get rid of the bullshit ingredients, okay? And get rid of the bullshit. Stop looking for a healthy muffin. Stop looking for a healthy way to make a cookie. Get rid of the barbecue sauces and all those things that all these questions that are going to be coming in the next week, I guarantee. Just get rid of those. Eat the real foods just like everybody keeps talking about. Don't try to find a way around it. Take the right way, not the easy way. We want you guys to get those things out of your diets forever. So why would you try and come with a healthy solution that will never be as healthy as having a piece of steak or some sweet potatoes, etc. I think that's it from me, unless anybody else has something else. Not game, that was a typo. Oh, sorry. More explanation on that. So that's awesome, guys. We're going to have so much for you guys coming at you. It's going to be a lot of fun. This is your opportunity to transform. If you stick with this, you will win. Okay? If you give up in the first 2 weeks when it's hard, you won't. Trust me, you won't hit your stride to weeks 3 or 4 unless you've been here and done this before. And that includes us coaches. We do the very same thing. We're all following along. Every single coach is following along in some kind of way. So let us join you and have some fun and commit. You've got this. Transform yourselves. That's it. Yeah. So, we just had another question. Come on. May have missed it, but you usually mention drinking coffee, milk, and alcohol. Thought that was good to include. Coffee. Okay. Drink your coffee black. Right? Don't waste your calories in there. If you like coffee, you will love it black. And then you'll start to realize what real coffee is. Okay, but it is coffee. If you put milk or cream in there, that's going to count as your calories. Get rid of Joe's on here. I always chirp Joe. Get rid of your French vanilla bullshit creamers. Okay, if you're going to have coffee, have real cream in there. Okay, use those calories and then take advantage of it. But you got to log those things. Alcohol, we're telling you, I mean, I've now 450 days without a drink. I know you can do it for 6 weeks. Alcohol, one, it messes with your calories. It's empty calories. So if I was to have like a cheeseburger, really, just from anywhere, at least I'm getting a little bit of protein. Calories have nothing, or alcohol has nothing but empty calories in it, and also messes with your absorption of the good stuff. So alcohol will mess you up if you can't stay away. Maybe there's bigger issues to deal with, but plan, and do your best to avoid alcohol at all costs. But you don't get kicked out of the program if you drink, Carrie. Good question. Thank you. Anybody else? This thing's actually working pretty good. We were a little nervous, but it seems to be working. Okay, if that's it for the questions, it's not like we're going to go away. You're going to be getting a good guidebook. The app is a great place to ask your questions. If you have something that's maybe a little bit more sensitive, DM one of us. Danny is always available. You'll find that if you don't have a coach on there that you wanted to talk to directly, it's because we need to reach out to you first. It's a weird glitch on the app. So reach out to your home base coach and just say, hey, could you link me up with Joe on a DM? And then from there, after you do one DM, you'll be able to talk. So if Danny's not your direct coach, you have to get linked in with her to have a conversation, but we can easily make that happen. So thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for coming and join this thing over and over again. And to all the new people, we really look forward to working with you and seeing you in the gym. These people are all here to support you. Even the people not doing the 6WT get real pumped about what's going on around them and really want to see you change and win. Let's do this. Have a great night, guys. Everybody can kind of tune off. I'm just going to keep this live for a second, see if any kind of straggling questions come in, but that'll be it. Thank you. You're welcome. You're welcome. All Danny, though. Give Danny all the credit here on this one. I just came on for the glory. Never received a questionnaire. Yes, Jen, because you're not on the app. So we will solve all of that with your app thing. So come in tomorrow morning and we'll get that solved with you. If not, send an email to whichever one of us you have an email for, and we'll get you rolling, even if we have to get on the phone with you, okay? And anybody else, if you don't have the questionnaire and you are on the app, please get in. Maybe it's some of the late signees might not have got anything yet. We'll get you hooked up. All right, I'm going to end it there. Have a great night, guys.